Hey guys, today I have a new project for you, and it's a little bit different than my normal videos. I'm not going to be showing you exactly how to draw something so you can copy the same thing as me. I'm going to be talking about a project that I think is really fun and how you can do it too, but you're going to be coming up with your own ideas for it. So this project is going to be all about making your own animal. How you can think about how to make your own animal by combining different animals together, or of course you could just kind of make it all up. And also how to make your animal's habitat, which is where it lives or the environment it lives in. And also think about things like, what does it eat? Maybe what do the babies look like? What kind of things does your animal do? I think it's really fun to come up with your own animal because I love animals, but it's even more fun to really think of a whole story or a whole world where your animal could live. So with this one here, I made this one a while ago, and this one is obviously a combination of a tiger and a great white shark and a monkey. That's why its tail's wrapping around a vine. So I thought of those three animals, and then I also thought about, okay, like where would this animal live? What would it eat? Maybe like where would its babies go when it's out hunting? I don't know, I just thought of all those different things. And this one here lives in a jungle or a rainforest. And obviously it's about to eat a fish, and I also drew its little babies up in a tree. So I'm going to talk to you about how you can go about kind of designing your own animal and thinking about those things like where it lives, what it does, and make your own drawing. So you're not going to be exactly copying what I do, but thinking about the things I'm telling you. So for this project, we're going to do some planning before we get started. A lot of artists plan before they start. When you're just practicing and trying new things, you're maybe not planning so much, but planning can really help you come up with an artwork that you're proud of. So we're gonna plan our animal before we get started. When you're trying to plan out what kind of animal you wanna make, first you might wanna think about a few animals that you really like. I know for sure I wanna use a llama as one of my animals, and then I just thought of some other animals. You could write their names down, you could just keep them in your head, you can look up pictures. Just come up with a few ideas for different animals, and then you could try combining them together. Once you have your animals that you know you want to mix together, then you have to think about what parts of those animals you like the most and would want to include. So first you want to try drawing the different parts of the animal that you like and maybe combine them in different ways. You might try to draw this animal 2 or 3 different times, because maybe the first time you just don't like how it looks, and then mix the parts up a little bit. Definitely look up pictures on Google. You can look up pictures of the real animal, or if you're still struggling to draw it after looking up a picture of the real thing, look up the animal's name and then look up like drawing or cartoon or clip art. Those words can help you find a more simplified drawing. So right now I'm looking at my laptop over to the side, and I see a really cute kind of simple drawing of a llama face. So I'm going to try copying this kind of more simple version before I try doing a more real one. Okay, so I drew the face because I love their faces and their super long neck, so I'm going to draw a super long neck. Okay, and then I'm trying to think, I obviously want to do like the turtle shell. So I'm going to look up a picture of turtle shell, and I looked up cartoon and I got some really good drawings that I can use kind of as a reference. You might try to draw this animal 2 or 3 different times, because maybe the first time you just don't like how it looks, and then mix the parts up a little bit. Then you're going to think about where your animal would live. So you could look at one of the animals and decide where that specific animal would live and make it the same for the whole thing, or you could kind of think what would make sense with those 3 animals combined. I know llamas live in the mountains, turtles live in the water, and horses can live kind of anywhere, but we'll say they live in like fields. So I think what makes the most sense is to pick the mountains, because there can be water and there can be fields, but the mountains kind of has all 3. So my habitat is mountains. And maybe he lives like by streams. So I could say he lives by streams or rivers. I like to write stuff down because it helps me keep it in my head. You don't need to, but I always think it's a good idea. And then also let's think about, what does it eat? Your animal could be a carnivore, herbivore, or an omnivore. Carnivores eat meat only, herbivores eat plants only, and omnivores eat both. If I look at these three animals, all three of them only eat plants. So I'm actually deciding that my animal is a herbivore. Of course, it's your made up animal, so it doesn't have to make sense what the animal is, but I think it kind of helps. Like for example, this animal is obviously a carnivore. He is part shark and part tiger, so it just makes sense. Okay, so now that I have my plan, I know my animal's habitat, the environment it lives in, I know what it eats, and I also kind of know what it looks like. I have my sketch, but I'm probably going to change it a little on this one. I'm going to get started. I recommend that you draw your animal first so that you know like where it's going to be or how big it is, but you might want to draw the setting first, where it lives. So if maybe you have an idea in your head that you want it to be like in the distance more or have like a couple of your animal, it kind of depends on what makes sense for you in your drawing. I'm going to start with my animal first. So I'm going to begin kind of having mine right in the middle. I'm not going to make it huge because if I make it huge, I have no room to do the setting or the habitat that it lives in. But I'm going to draw it right in the middle. Remember, you're drawing your own animal however you want it to look. So don't just draw the exact same thing I am. Okay, so I think that my animal looks pretty good. I am going to change the body a little bit. I know in a lot of my videos it seems like I draw everything just fine the first time. No, I practice everything. I just try not to have a bunch of me erasing on most of my videos, but with this one it makes a lot of sense to erase and fix things, so that is what I'm going to do. All right. So I'm pretty much happy with this. Obviously there's a lot of eraser marks, but I'm not going to worry about them until I kind of go over with markers so that I can erase it without erasing my picture. But see how having the sketch helped? I still did have to change it quite a bit, but at least I already had an idea in my head, so I didn't have to erase a ton of times on my final paper and mess it up. Okay, so now I need to draw my animal's habitat, like where it lives. So I'm gonna first start by drawing a bumpy line for the ground since it lives in the mountains. I want the ground to be bumpy. I might draw some little rocks and things like that on the ground. And then definitely draw something behind your animal to show where it is. A lot of times with drawings, I notice with my students that they just draw the subject of the picture and then nothing behind it. Your pictures look way more interesting if you show something happening in the background. So I'm gonna draw kind of another little ledge back here maybe, with kind of a path that gets smaller. I'm gonna have a kind of curl, and then I'm gonna draw a mountain coming up from that path. And because my animal eats plants, I do need to add some plants somewhere for my animal to eat. So I'm gonna have this over here be kind of like a little grassy field. So when I color, this will have some green, but I'm gonna add little blades of grass. I'll probably do more with my marker when I go over it. Also, if you thought about the habitat, where it is, you might want to draw the sun out if your animal likes the sun, or it might be raining if you made a rainforest or something like that. And now I have my animal with the animal itself, the habitat it lives in, and some grass here for what it eats. So I have a full picture. There's a whole idea with my animal. Somebody could look at this without knowing my idea behind it, and they could kind of figure it out on their own probably. And that's kind of the point. So I did really take my time with this, and now I'm gonna go over with Sharpie, which might take me a bit, but I will speed it up for you. Okay, so I traced everything and now the picture is quite a bit easier to see. And now I'm gonna do something that I always like to do after tracing is I'm gonna erase all that pencil. All right, and I'm all done drawing my animal. I have my habitat and what it eats. And one thing that's always fun, if you can, is to think of a name for your animal. Now you could just keep it in your head or you could maybe write it somewhere nearby. I was thinking about mine for a bit, and I like to combine the names together like llama, turtle, horse. And I thought of La Torse, which is a weird name, but I don't know, I kind of liked it. I'm gonna write it on this little sunbeam. La Terse. It's a weird name, but now it has a name. Of course, you could give it any kind of name, doesn't have to be the things combined, but I think that's kind of the easiest way. And then when you guys are coloring it in, take your time. I know sometimes when you're coloring a big picture like this, you're tempted to rush and scribble things in or skip coloring parts of it. If you need to take a break, take a break. Maybe work on it over a couple different days or work on it 10 minutes, take a 10-minute break and come back to it. But if you took the time and effort to think about your animal, think of the setting and the environment, and think of what it eats and draw all those things, don't erase a bunch of the hard work you did by kind of scribbling parts of it in or not coloring parts of it in at all. Just take your time and really color it in, color in the background just as nicely as you would your animal. All right, you guys, and I'm all finished coloring in my new imaginary animal and its background. Oh, no, I'm not. Forgot these flowers. Let me do that real quick. You always miss something when you have a picture that's this detailed. There we go. All right, now I'm all finished with my new animal, and I think this one looks really cool. I like it pretty much just as much as this one. And I think it's really fun to invent your own animal and take the time to come up with a whole story for it, like where it lives and what it eats, what it does. But just take your time. If it takes you a while, if you want to work on it over a couple days, that's just fine. And I would love to see how yours turned out. All right, guys, well, I hope you had fun designing your own animals with me today. I love doing this kind of project, and I remember when I was little, I would make up animals all the time because I just thought it was really fun. So I hope you had fun with this one, and maybe you're gonna make some more drawings. Maybe you'll make a story to go with your animal. But no matter what you did, I would love to see what you did, so send me a picture of it. Maybe tell me in the comments what animals you combined, and I will see you guys next time for our next video. Bye.